2, 1.
Ready.
Just relax and enjoy the ride.
In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815. 815.
I'm guessing that some rich alien somewhere has probably purchased our star in their sky for some Christmas gift for some chick he was trying to impress. I'm Greg. He's Tom. This is your In Crowd 815 podcast for the 7th day of December, the year 2024, the latest it has ever been
in the history of mankind. And I know what they're going to call our star, our planet, or whatever. We're going to call it Girth because it's so big around. Like that. I mean, doesn't it make sense?
Girth. Yes.
Planet Girth.
Girth, Gertie. There's all kinds of things I suppose you could call our big blue ball in the sky. Have you ever purchased a star?
My dad did.
Your dad did?
My dad did. He purchased a star for my mom, which was kind of cool. In fact, I can show you exactly. Well, anyway, it doesn't
got the certificate somewhere?
Oh, well, I've got the little poster that he's got it on. It's I need to hook it up. I need to. Yeah.
My wife's a NASA nerd, so years ago I bought her a star, and there's a star named for her up there somewhere, and she knows what constellation it's in, and every so often we look at it and we know that it's ours and we can live there someday.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Right.
Hey, you know what? Elon Musk, he's gonna make life on Mars, isn't he?
There you go. There you go. Just blast us off up into the cosmos, and yeah. Anywho, we've got a good show for you and the person still snoring next to you. So maybe wake them up and say, hey, you want to catch the show live today? Wake up and take a listen to the In Crowd 815 podcast. If you can't wake them, it's okay. We'll be on Spotify later.
This little girl right here.
Yeah.
And you think I didn't like? And you think I didn't like bears? Come on.
There's their bear. There's the bear.
There we are. There we are.
Is the bear happy?
Is it a what?
Is the bear happy or sad about the new Bears head coach? We don't have to talk about that now. We can talk about sports later, but we got some guests to get to.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. Who is it? Thomas More? They named the
Thomas Brown.
Oh, Brown. I keep saying Moore. Thomas Brown. Yeah.
He looks to be a really cool dude. So I'm pulling for him. I'm actually kind of pulling for the Bears for the rest of the season too, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, I am too.
Yeah, I know you are too. Anyway, let's take care of the important business before we get to our guests. This right here. It's our new way to race to 10. Tom versus Greg. We both have a point, and our big number of the week this week is 18.74 million is the answer. Gutting or guitars? Gutting or guitars? Put your answer in the comments, please. Tom's going to text me his answer now because he likes to show he's not using Google to try to find his answer. And I implore you, I beg you, please use Google or your AI search machine or YouTube, anything, whatever your favorite search tool is. Search 18.74 million right now and see if you can find what is the answer this week. Is it gutting or is it guitars? There's a story within the last week or two that has that number involved in it.
I don't care. I don't care. I have fun with it. It's total 50-50, total gamble. I don't care.
I like your style. I'm cool with your style, but I'm also cool with the search style too. So someone's going to jump in and throw me the guess. And even better, if you find something, maybe include the link in your comment, and maybe we'll share. Maybe we'll have landed on the same thing. That would be what? Serendipitous. Merry Christmas, everybody. All right, we're gonna get to our guests right now, and our guests come to us from the 815, of course, and they have a big event coming up that's going on not just to Christmas, but right on through Christmas. Big toy drive taking place. Our UW Health Foundation, Barb and Stacy are standing by, and let's see if we can't bring them on right now. Good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's not going to be so bitter cold this weekend. Aren't you happy about that?
Very happy.
Absolutely.
I'm so thrilled about that. Let's see if we can't put you in a prominent place here on the screen. But we're going to play musical heads. There we go.
Wow, I'm getting dizzy.
Yeah, it's fun to play with the Restream program. All right, so before we get into your organization and your events, we'd like to find out a little bit about you first. So, Stacy, we're gonna start with you. Where did Stacy grow up and go to school? And maybe just a brief little career arc. What led you to where you are today at the UW Health Foundation?
So I grew up in Little Oregon, Illinois, out in the country there. So Oregon Hawks.
You're a Hawk.
Go Hawks.
Go
Yeah.
Hawks.
Small town living was wonderful, and I find myself in Winnebago now, so still kind of enjoying that small town feel. It's fun to go to the grocery store and think you're going to make a quick trip and run into 1,000 people that you know and talk and figure out and all that.
Hour and a half later, you've reminisced about stuff. It's
absolutely, yeah.
And now you got to go change out your ice cream because it's half melted.
Absolutely. So then I went to Northern Illinois for my degree in child development. And then I think what led me to choose this career path, because I'm actually a child life specialist at the hospital, UW, was growing up with a young lady that had muscular dystrophy and going to camps with her and, working with these kids to help them have some fun experiences over the summer, I think is what really truly led me to that line of work.
Okay. So a personal friend when you were younger.
Yes.
Kind of led you into your career path.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And can we? Is she still around? Is she still?
Unfortunately not. She died just before turning 40 years old. Muscular dystrophy is a really tough disease. And so she, was wheelchair bound since like first grade and, relied on having assistance, but just a smart gal and, really enjoyed her friendship through a lot of years.
So many levels of degrees of how MD hits different people. Like my close friend, I had a close friend also, but she's still in her, she's what, 53 now.
Yeah.
And she's okay. I know, not great, but okay.
Right.
And it's a lot of different levels of how MD affects different people. So
absolutely.
Well, thanks for sharing. And Barb, a little bit about you now. Where did you grow up and go to school and all that stuff? Your little career arc?
I grew up in Freeport. I'm a Freeport pretzel. Go Pretzels.
Let's see. Pretzels versus Hawks. My money's on the Hawks, but that's okay. Go ahead.
I'm a Jayhawk, by the way.
Yeah, Tom's a Jayhawk. I'm a warrior.
Right.
I take you all down.
Yeah.
On Muskego Warriors. Anyway, all right. So, and your your career arc. What's your resume look like?
So I graduated from University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana with a business administration degree. Kind of took the path of sales and marketing, and then decided, hey, I really need to start giving back and want to make a difference. And so kind of entered the nonprofit world. Been a director for United Way in Northwest Illinois. Went back into the private sector, worked at a marketing agency for 17 years at M45 Marketing in Freeport, and then decided wanted to kind of make a career change again and started doing marketing here at UW Health in Rockford. And then the opportunity came available to become the executive director for Swedishamerican Health Foundation. And that really fits both my marketing side of things and my nonprofit side of things. And it's very important to me. UW Health saved my life back in 2003. So it's very personal to me to give back and to support this organization and do what I can to make a difference for remarkable care here in Northern Illinois.
Nice. Now, is there a connection between the UW Health Foundation and the Swedish Historical Society? That seems like a natural fit to me, but when I think of one, I can't help but think of the other.
No, there is not.
I was just curious.
Yep. So we kept the name Swedish American in the Health Foundation name to honor the legacy of Swedish American Hospital that it's been here since 1911. And even though we've rebranded to UW Health, the primary hospital is still named UW Health Swedish American Hospital. So
and it makes sense. Anyone over the age of 40 anyway is going to call it Swedes for the rest of their life anyway.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
that's the case. All right, one other totally useless question before we get into the important stuff. Is there a reason that you know of that there's no hyphen or space between Swedish and American?
That I do not know the answer to.
I was always curious why.
I know. I'm not sure. Stacy, do you have any?
I do not. No, but really good question.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to find out now.
Okay. Well, maybe someone listening or watching online has an idea and they're like, "Oh, I know, it's whatever," but I'm not even sure I can even guess. But
well, it's become one complete word, Swedish American. It's not two separate words like Swedish American. So that's the only guess I could offer up. It's now one word. So
curiosity. So the Swedish American Health Foundation, was that something that was started like when the hospital itself started, or is that something that came along later? Can you fill us in a little bit on the history of what it's all about?
Sure. So the foundation started in 1981. There had always been a fundraising component happening for Swedish American when back in the days of the Jenny Lind Society. Don't know if you remember hearing anything about that, but that was a group of women who had a whole volunteer organization. They had a gift shop and a cafe in the Lake Peterson house. They used to serve food out of there, and I think the gift shop was over there as well. So there's always been a strong history of giving and donating and volunteering. And then they formalized that relationship of having the separate kind of, due to tax laws and government and all that kind of stuff, set it up as a separate foundation in 1981. So we've been operating with our own separate board of directors and as that separate foundation since that time.
So 40 plus years strong of serving the Rockford area. Has the purpose always been connected to the hospital, or what's the mission?
It has always been connected to the hospital, but it's in 2023, we actually rebranded, and that's when we rebranded to Swedish American Health Foundation. And now all of the donations that we receive go directly to the program, services, and facilities here at UW Health in Northern Illinois. Prior to that, the foundation also gave money externally to other organizations within our community. Now that is done through UW Health itself, through our community relations, where they make donations to help support community organizations. And we focus our time and effort on raising money to support the health system.
Okay. I want to put the link to your Facebook page in our chat here so people can find you very easily and see what you're all about through your Facebook page. Nonprofit organization, medical and health charity organization right here on State Street in Rockford. So you've, for the 40 plus years, is there a specific, is there any kind of like benchmark event or cause or something that you really, plant your flag in? That's what we do every year. This is what we're known for, type of a thing.
We are, since we did the whole rebranding in 2023, we've been kind of reinventing the foundation as we move forward. We're really into setting up how can we create a legacy here to, make sure that remarkable care here in Northern Illinois continues and expands. Our health system here has grown from $500 million revenue up to we're almost $850 million now this year. So we've seen exponential growth, and that growth is going to continue. And as the hospital system, health system here grows, we need to grow with it and raising additional funds. So we're making partnerships with different organizations. We had one where a family who lost their daughter to breast cancer is holding a golf tournament every summer, and the proceeds from that golf tournament, it's the Maggie Strong golf outing, support our breast health program. So we're reaching out and making partnerships. We don't have any large scale events that we're doing right now, but in the future we'll probably, as we can build up staff again.
I've definitely seen more Maggie Strong stuff over the last few years here. That's really definitely catching on. I mean, we've kind of become a bit of a community known for golf outings.
Right.
With all the great golf courses we have here, it totally makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So
A few of which Greg and I have partaken in.
like to do a little golfing and pretend I know what I'm
we
doing.
need to do one this year, Gregors.
Absolutely. We'll get back out there in 2025. So, all right. Well, can we focus a little bit, I guess? Can you tell us a little bit, Stacy, about your involvement in your work with the organization?
Right. Well, Barb has been just such a great help to the Child Life program here at the hospital. I predominantly work in the pediatric unit, but will really truly get consulted throughout the health system, wherever children are involved and need some additional support. So, my position is non-revenue producing. And so Barb has really truly worked on external grants, internal grants to kind of support those efforts because as a child life specialist, we really want to try to, we focus on the developmental, emotional, and social aspect of kids being in the hospital. Our goal is to reduce the stress of hospitalization and negative impact of healthcare experiences for both the patient and their families. And one of the major ways to do that is to give kids an opportunity to be kids yet while they're in the hospital, and that's through play. So the toy drive is a big way of assuring that we have not only toys for the holiday for kids that might be here through the holidays, but also throughout the year. We unfortunately have kids that come in on their birthday, and we have a playroom that, as toys get used and cleaned and sanitized and lost and broken and those sorts of things that need replaced. And, we might need sometimes a little incentive tool to help a child really, get through a difficult procedure. So they're used in so many ways. So the toy drive is a way to kind of assure that we can provide those services for our patients.
And we see toy drives throughout the community for a lot of different organizations and different things. And this one is specific to the kids there at UW Health.
Correct.
So, and this has been going on for how many years now that you've been doing this one?
This is our first year giving it a go. Yeah.
Okay. So we don't know how many kids are going to be impacted by this year's toy drive. Do you kind of have a goal of the number of toys you'd like to see donated so you can touch those kids?
Right. Well, so just because we're trying it our first time, I told Barb, I'm like 40, 50 toys, because that will give us something to get through the holidays and put something in our closet for those as needed kinds of things. So, we don't know what to expect, but are really hopeful that it's successful and kind of can help provide support to these families.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there, and I might be talking a little bit out of school, but I don't think I am. What the Ice Hogs are doing? I think it's tonight. Is it tonight or is it next week?
I have not honestly heard. We usually do hear from them when they're going to deliver. And
the teddy bear toss.
Yes, It's awesome.
Yeah. So in years past, they've had hundreds, if not thousands of teddy bears thrown out on the ice when the Ice Hogs score their first goal of the game at the teddy bear toss game. And I think that might be tonight.
Awesome.
Yes. It's this month. I think it might be tonight. And there are some teams, some minor league hockey teams throughout the country that just have like tens of thousands get thrown. The game stops for like 45 minutes so they can clear off the ice and the Ice Hogs have seen this grow over the years too. So when the Ice Hogs score their first goal, hopefully early in the game,
right,
they could have a whole lot of toys to stuffed animals to bring over to your toy drive.
Right.
So,
and they have been wonderful. They have, been bringing them here for years, and it's amazing. Those stuffed animals can bring a lot of comfort to a little one that maybe is going through something kind of scary.
I heard Mike Peck on the radio on WROK talking with Riley and Joe, talking about how there's been a couple of years where they like, what do we do with all these? There's so many of them.
Right.
We got to find people who's willing to take them. So this might fill your guys' baskets up. So
yeah, and we're the only pediatric inpatient unit now in the region. So
you are.
Yeah. So all the kids are coming here if they need an overnight hospital stay. So
okay,
it's very important that we can help ease their stay and provide comfort to them when they arrive here. So Stacy and her team do a fantastic job for that. I can't say enough about our pediatrics team. They really are caring and compassionate for our UW Health kids.
Well, is there anything toy drive related or otherwise that you want to make sure that we highlight today before
Yeah,
we let you go this weekend?
sure. If you want to make a donation to the toy drive, there's 4 drop-off sites. So it's at each main entrance of the hospital on both 2 on Charles Street and 1 on State Street. And then also at the Body Factory at 8016 North 2nd Street in McChesney Park. And then you can also give a donation online to help support the program throughout the year. So when Stacy has a particular need, or if we're running low on, arts and craft supplies or whatever the case may be, she has access to funds to be able to purchase what she needs to help the kiddos then. And we just want to kind of give a shout out to our co-sponsors as well that are helping with the drive. That's the Van Fleet Family Foundation, Touching Souls, and the Body Factory. And when we launched this on Tuesday, we had a great kind of kickoff with Information Controls here in Loves Park that donated quite a few toys. So we want to give a shout out and a thank you to them as well, because they really, for a team of 12 people on their staff, they really did an awesome job of collecting donations and really helped us to get this drive off on the right foot. So
got the momentum started for
yeah,
you.
definitely.
Awesome.
So very appreciative to them.
Well, the link is in the chat there, and if anyone wants to donate or find a place to donate, it's all right there when you check out SwedishAmericanHealthFoundation.org/2024 toy drive, and hopefully we'll see lots and lots of toys donated and lots of kids' days brightened up as they go through what they have to go through at the hospital. That's pretty awesome. So. All right, good deal. If you feel like we've covered everything, I don't want to let you go. We got some trivia to do first. But if you feel like we've covered anything, we're going to move on to trivia. Are you ready for that?
I think so.
I think so.
Give it a go.
We've got our next guest, Andrew, sitting by, and I think he's brought a guest with him as well, and it might be Sterling. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
We're going to play little musical frames here and put Tom in the hot seat for our trivia. I'm going to move over to the side here and give Stacy a better spot. There we go. Okay. It's time for Tom's Trivia Challenge. Before we get into all things, and people are wondering, what's Andrew doing here? Well, we're going to tell you in a minute. Just hold your horses. It's called a tease. It's called
Go back to your days in radio, right?
That's right. Little programming tease for you. All right, Tom, what do we got for trivia this week?
All right, here we go. I got 6 questions, and I got a bonus question. So essentially 7 questions, and we could go all day. I've got really 30 questions. But I don't think we have that kind of time. Gregors, let everybody else try and guess, and you're kind of like, because some of these you are probably going to know, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
All right. I want everybody to understand trivia is supposed to be fun. It's not designed to make you go, God almighty, I guess I don't know anything. Because it's just not the case. You know these things. I may have picked questions you don't know, but I also may have picked questions you do know. So do not feel bad if you don't get them. But as a team, you're working together. So, you can split up.
Feeling lucky.
All right. Here we go. Very first one. It's apropos. It worked out, sort of. All right. Legos. In which country were Legos invented? Is it Denmark or is it Sweden?
I am 90% sure I know this answer.
Okay. Once again, in which country were Legos invented? Denmark or Sweden?
Andrew's shaking his head.
I know.
Andrew,
He looks like he knows. I have a guess, but
want to state your case, Andrew?
Yeah,
I'm like 98% sure it's Sweden.
that would be my guess too.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Sweden was my guess.
Greg, what do you say?
I don't think it's Sweden.
He thinks it's
Well,
Denmark.
go ahead, Greg. Offer it up.
I'm fairly certain it's Denmark.
Ooh, yeah.
Denmark, 1949. 1949. It was. They were invented in Denmark by Ole Kirk Christensen.
Wow.
My old buddy
there
Old
you
Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah. Way to go.
He was good friends with my Norwegian buddy Oli. It was all a good thing.
There you go. There you go. All right. Question number 2. Which came first? Which computer giant came first? Was it Apple or Microsoft?
That's a pretty good question.
That's a very good question. I will say they're close. Once again, which came first, Apple or Microsoft? Did Bill Gates beat Steve Jobs to the punch, or did Steve Jobs beat Bill Gates to the punch?
I thought it was Microsoft, but
I'm with Barb.
I would lean toward Microsoft as well. I'm pretty sure they got to the market before Apple.
I think so too. But
Apple made the bigger splash eventually.
Was Apple originally Macintosh though?
Well, yeah, that was Apple
That
Mac
was their
or
first
whatever.
big product.
Because I don't know. For some reason, my brain is thinking Macintosh came first.
Think very small, as in micro. Microsoft is the answer. Microsoft.
They did the better advertising because they had that big Super Bowl commercial in 1984. Was it in 1984 when they did that Super Bowl commercial? I think it was.
Well, okay, but this was 1975 for Microsoft.
Right.
1976 for Apple.
Oh,
right.
Wow. They were close.
All right.
Yeah.
All
well,
right.
no, you got it. And they were. Yeah, you're right. They were close, but you got it. So we're all good there. Okay, page 1 done. All right, here we go. Mottos. Which jeans company uses this motto? Real, comfortable jeans.
Brett Favre. Brett Favre.
Oh, Wrangler?
Brett Favre.
Yes.
Maybe my guess. Yeah.
Yep, Wrangler.
Look at you go, Barb.
You know what, Greg? I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, and I'm sorry, I had this question. We did this question on Wednesday night, and he guessed Wrangler because of Brett Favre. He said he remembers the Brett Favre commercial. So that's pretty good. Go Brett. Go Patrick. All right. Here we go. This is one everybody has a fair shake at. This is a good one here. What was the name of the coffee shop which occupied a great deal of the friends' time and where Rachel worked?
Oh, God.
Come on. One of you four has to know this.
Oh, my gosh.
And I feel like I just heard it not too long ago, but
Does it
I
have
didn't watch Friends.
Nobody watched Friends.
I did. Does it have perk in it?
Yes,
I don't
it
know.
does.
No hints.
okay.
Yes, it does.
It does.
I'll give you that hint. Yes, it does.
Oh, gosh.
It's a great name for a coffee shop, especially in Midtown Manhattan.
Midtown Manhattan, right near a big famous park.
Central Perk then?
Central Perk.
Yay!
Put
You're
it
going to
together.
have a point for that.
Central Perk.
Teamwork, Stacy.
There we go.
Nicely done.
Thanks for
done.
the hint.
All right.
We're on the winning
What?
side now.
All right, here we go. What is the state capital of Kentucky?
Louisville.
Anybody else?
Is it Louisville or
I
Lexington?
think it's
Lexington.
I think.
I think.
I don't think it's Louisville.
What do you guys say?
Oh, it's not. Is it even either one of those, or is it like Frankfurt?
Franklin or
Frankfurt? No.
All right, we'll stop right there because that's the answer.
Oh,
Nicely done. You worked through
Barb.
that. I love that.
way
Nice.
to
Got
go,
it this
Barb.
morning. Not too early for
Raise the
her.
roof.
I know. Geez, good thing I got up early this morning.
Holy
Woo.
cow.
All right. I had a kind of a Bears related question. We don't want that one.
Oh, come on.
All right. You asked for it. You asked for
Oh
it.
no. Oh no.
Here we go.
This is where I'm going to need to phone a
In-
friend.
Now, if we're
Now
really,
you can
really
phone a
fans.
friend. Sure. There you go. Barb, you can phone Stacy. All right, here we go. And you can do it right here while we're on the air. Okay, in 1985, this now former Chicago Bear, he was a Bear at the time, football player, became the spokesperson for the McDLT sandwich, which lasted from 84 to 90. It was keeps the hot side hot, keeps the cold side cold. Remember that?
William Perry?
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Really? I
Yes,
forgot all
William
about that.
I had guesses like Walter Payton.
Refrigerator.
I just remember he was bringing
McDLT.
2 McDLTs out and setting them down and digging in and eating them, and he said he ate like 8 a day for a while.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
All right,
Doesn't surprise me.
we're gonna go 2 more because we're having so much fun.
All right.
Who is officially credited as the second person to step foot on the moon? Second person.
All right. So Neil Armstrong,
Number one.
he's
John
number one,
Glenn.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Was it John Glenn
So
is the
the
second?
second guy,
Oh,
who else was on the mission? Alan Shepard, Buzz Aldrin,
Oh.
yeah.
or Michael something. I forget the other
Michael
guy's.
Collins was the one
Michael
who
Collins.
didn't get to step on the moon. He had to man
He-
the spacecraft.
he had
couldn't
to
get out.
orbit.
In fact, he
I
couldn't.
think Buzz Aldrin, I think.
You know what? The girls are hot today. That is exactly right. It is Buzz Aldrin.
All right.
Greg, you did mention
Little
Buzz
help
Aldrin.
with that one too.
Yes. Very good. All right. Final question. I normally would have Packer trivia, local trivia. I probably should have done local. We'll consider the Lego thing local, sort of, because there's people from Denmark and definitely Sweden here. That's my justification.
I'm a quarter
All right.
Sweden. I was rooting for Sweden to be.
Well,
the
I'm
Lego thing,
German,
but
French, English, Norwegian, and Swedish. I am definitely Heinz 57.
I'm half
I got a long time.
Norwegian.
Oh, yeah. Nicely done. All right. But we don't like the Vikings.
No,
Just keep that in mind. We don't like the Vikings.
no.
All right, here we go. Final.
Could have easily been a Vikings fan with all the Ramses and Sanders in my history with the Norwegians. Nope,
Yeah.
no thanks.
All right, here we go. When Gerald R. Ford assumed the U.S. presidency in August of 1974, he uttered this quote, "I'm a Ford, not a blank."
Hmm.
I'm a Ford.
Yep. When Gerald R. Ford assumed the U.S. presidency in August of 74, he uttered this quote, "I'm a Ford, not a blank."
Not a crook. No, that's not right.
Nice.
No ideas on that one.
I don't remember ever hearing this as a
Me
part
I
of
watched it
history.
live. I remember. I was a news hound when I was that young. I was young. I was a news hound. I
Not a
watched the news with my.
I know Chevy is the only thing that comes to my mind too, but that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Exactly. I don't know where it would make any sense. So
I'm hoping it's like a joke phrase that he made.
yeah, is it another car? I mean, is it supposed to be another car brand?
No
I'm
hint.
not a Studebaker.
No hints on this one. Okay. All right.
Did you guys you give up? You giving up the ghost?
No ideas.
I'm a Ford, not a Lincoln.
Oh.
He was talking about
gosh.
he governs differently than Abraham
Wow.
Lincoln did.
Oh.
Which is I didn't get the quote at the time because I don't know. I mean, it's not like Lincoln was a bad president. You know, Lincoln was a
No.
great president, so I didn't get that. But anyway, there you go. You did well.
All
Out
right.
of these 7 questions, I think you nailed 5. So, or
Yeah,
maybe 6.
yeah.
You may have actually gotten 6.
We're
But
above
there were
500.
a couple of hints. So we'll call it 5 and 2 today.
Anytime we can get above 500, I'm pretty happy with the trivia. So, all right.
Absolutely. Too
Way
bad
to
the
go.
Bears can't be over 500.
Oh,
Oh,
no. That's
thank
not
you.
good.
I'm here
That
all
is
week,
bad.
or at least until 9.
Well, Stacy and
Sorry,
Barb,
ladies,
we're
just
really
messing.
happy you got to join us this morning. And the toy drive doesn't just go till Christmas; it's going all the way through the beginning of the year. QR code on your screen if you'd like to donate that way. Looking for new unwrapped toys, stuffed animals, board book, or art supplies for UW Health kids, newborn to age 18. And there's the locations right there, including a location in Loves Park there on North 2nd Street. So thank you so much for coming on this morning, and best of luck to you in your toy drive.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
You got it. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay.
Happy
Bye-bye.
holidays.
There goes
Thank
Barb
you.
and Stacy from UW Health. And that brings us to Andrew and Sterling, who's Sterling right now is going, he remembered my name. That's cool. I feel like I've seen you quite a bit this year, Sterling. So it shouldn't be too much.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
Frequented Starlight a good bit, so
You got it. Let me see here. Did I bring up? Here's what I brought up. I brought up the screen for your Facebook page. So while I'm digging that out, let's fill everybody in on who you two are. And same question, even though you've been on the show before, where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And what led you to your kind of career arc where you are today?
I'll start. All right. Andrew Mahan. I grew up in Rockford. Sadly, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm in agreement with you. No.
I went part-time school to a part-time Christian school and then was homeschooled part-time. Then Rock Valley alum, woo, and then went off here and there and everywhere for my education. Performed professionally, studied dance, Rockford Dance Company, Joffrey, one of their private dance teachers. Been everywhere as far as career, and kept coming back home. Started Gateway Performing Arts Studio. We're gonna celebrate 10 years.
10 years already.
Yeah. Oh, we did. We had our 10-year anniversary in October. Yeah. So yeah, we've been around for a while, but I've choreographed and taught quite a few places in the Rockford area. Choreographed at Starlight Theater, BCT, Peck Playhouse, a lot of the high schools in the area, CYT, YTP, CTP, pretty much everywhere. Right now on staff at BCT as their creative director of their ballets, their main choreographer for main stage, and their ballet master right now over the ballet branch of the theater company.
Nice. Before we get to Sterling, got to ask you real quick, outside of Rockford, your most favorite or most impressive place that you've performed at, other city, other theater, something like that you can go, I really remember that. It was really special for whatever reason.
Wow. Okay, so I wasn't officially, I wasn't a cast member there, but probably my coolest experience was I got a private tour, I felt very special, of the LA Opera House. And the gentleman who was doing the tour asked if I was a singer, and I said yes, and I told him that opera was my main focus in school. And he stepped back from the stage and said, well, would you like to sing? And I was like, yeah. So I sang a full aria on the LA Opera stage and loved every minute of it. So that's probably my favorite, honestly. It wasn't even a real that was my favorite performance memory of my life.
Well, the obvious question is, did it lead to anything else? Did it lead to a job, a part in something? Or was it just your 15 minutes of fame, flash in the pan, whatever?
Literally. That's one of the hardest companies to get into. So not people get to perform, solo on that stage. So I took my moment.
All right. Well, maybe it leads to something later. Maybe you go back 5 years from now and you remember me, right?
Right.
Well, just hearing your voice echo through a facility like that, a theater like that. I mean, I can't match that whatsoever, but I was helping to set up a CYT show at the Coronado Theater that year that Hananiga caught fire. And so we had, we were gracefully allowed to do the CYT production at the Coronado Theater and helping to set up that morning, walking out onto the stage into that empty theater. And I was like, Mary had a little lamb, just you had to sing something just to hear your voice echo throughout the place. That was, a modicum, a tiny sliver of maybe what you experienced in Los Angeles.
I actually was lucky enough. I got to perform at Coronado for about 6 years back when they had a professional theater company that was, housed at the Coronado. That was actually how I started in theater. I started at probably 6.
Nice. All right, Sterling, your turn. Where'd you go to school, and what led you to this place today?
Yeah, so I'm also a Rockford native. I went through the Rockton school districts, came up through Hananiga, and then my theater roots have been, I pretty much touched most theater companies around here in Rockford. I started off at CYT and did that through the whole time frame 8 to 18, and then did a good amount of shows with Gateway here, and then started doing some shows with Byron at BCT due to Andrew and Ellen Mahan. So yeah, then I started doing some Starlight as well. I got a couple of seasons out there. So pretty much most of the community theaters around here, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's what I want to do professionally with my life as well. I haven't had opportunities yet, but working towards that.
Okay, so that is a goal, to be to do some professional acting and or dancing and or singing. You got to focus.
Yeah.
Is one of those your main focus, or is the whole thing?
Yeah, I would say dance is probably like my top sort of skill set, I guess, with singing maybe a close second, but
Okay, all right.
being more towards like a dance kind of career path if I had the choice, but I'd take anything.
All right, good deal. Well, the thing that's coming up here this month, in last year, I remember we had Andrew on. You might remember we had Andrew on to talk about the Nutcracker that you did with Byron Civic Theater. Not doing the Nutcracker this year, though.
Nope. Changing it up.
So tell us what led you to put Alice on the stage.
It's one of my favorite, it's considered a modern era ballet. It was produced within the last 10, 15 years. So it's pretty new to the ballet world. The first time I saw it, I didn't get to see it live, obviously, because it was originally performed at the Royal Ballet. But it just, I don't know, it just struck a chord. I've always loved the story of Alice in Wonderland. It was one of the first books I read at like 5 years old. I loved Alice Adventures in Wonderland. And as soon as it became a ballet, it was just kind of one of those things that I was like, and doing that one day, put that in the back of the brain. As soon as I have an opportunity, that is happening. The score is incredible. It's by Joby Talbot. Most people, without even knowing they know Joby's work. The new Wonka movie was composed by Joby Talbot. There was a movie probably a good 15 years ago now called Penelope. He did the score for that. He's done the score for a couple other films and a few Broadway shows. But it's just a stunning score. Characters are fun. It's just a goofy, whimsical, good time just for the sake of a good time, type ballet. What I do love about the ballet is the original stage adaptation by Christopher Wheeldon. He wove kind of a unique story through it, and me being the creative, can't leave anything alone person that I am, I decided to weave that story a little deeper into it, surrounding the character of Alice. So the audiences will be pleasantly surprised and I think very captivated by how we've woven a deeper story through Alice in Wonderland than just, goofy fun, bright colors, craziness all the way through it.
And not to give too much away, but I got a feeling Sterling plays something of a part of that little emphasis.
I have the honor of playing the role of the White Rabbit, so I'm kind of like, in a way, Alice's like guide / mentor through Wonderland, because I mean it's a whole new world that she's never seen, never explored. So I get to kind of lead her through and like bring her to all the different other characters. Like there's the caterpillar, there's Cheshire Cat, there's the Red Queen, who's, as we all know, very crazy. Pig and Pepper scene, which is another wild sequence. So I just kind of get to guide her through and help her like sort of process like all she's experiencing and what's going on, while doing a lot of fun dance throughout it.
With all the attention on Wicked the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of correlations between the Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland. And you've got Glinda or Galinda or whatever, kind of helping to lead Dorothy down the Yellow Brick Road and such. And the White Rabbit's kind of leading Alice.
Very much.
And maybe just a little bit more on the comical side of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're a Wizard of Oz fan and you've really never taken in Alice in Wonderland, I challenge you to kind of look at the compare and contrast all the things between Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland. And the fun thing, as Andrew, as you were saying there with Alice, this show has I'm trying to count in my head how many character actors you need for this show. A half a dozen or more really fun characters that have their own quirky personalities that make the show never boring.
Yeah. So that was another reason I really wanted to do this ballet. Nutcracker last year was a huge success for us, almost sold out crowds for every performance. And for a company's first, venture into the ballet world, that was huge for it to be as successful as it was.
And this is ballet in Byron, folks. This is not Rockford or Chicago. This is in Byron, Illinois.
Right. And the caliber was so high. My favorite moment was opening night. There was a rather prominent figure within the dance world of Rockford who came to see it, and she walked up to me afterwards in her fur stole, and she took my hands and she goes, "I am highly offended at how good this was," and then just walked away. I was like, yes.
That is amazing. That is awesome. I wish I could guess who that was. I'm not exactly sure, but you can tell me later. That's awesome.
So I knew we had to build off of that. So what's great about Alice, just from a technical aspect of a ballet, number one, it's huge. It's just huge. A lot of scene changes, more set pieces this time than Nutcracker, but also there's 28 principal roles alone.
Ooh.
And then all of the ensemble. So yeah, it's huge.
I got to ask then, and I hope this doesn't sound unfair, but I got to ask, of your cast, who's driving the farthest to be in this show? Who saw you doing this and is like, I don't care if I have to drive an hour plus to rehearsals, I'm coming to do this show.
Who's driving first? We have quite a few from Beloit.
Okay.
So it's a good hour 15, hour 20 for them to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good handful probably.
Well, we've got the link to the Facebook page in the chat here, so you can check that out really easy. And to get tickets, we've got Byron Civic Theater. You're using a Square site for that, so I'm going to put that also in the chat so people can find that. Real simple, real easy. As far as performances go, is there anything specific, anything else that you want to make sure people are aware of when they go to Byron? This is, by the way, this is being performed in the middle school theater, but don't let that discourage you. This is one of the best theaters in Northern Illinois.
Yes.
It's a beautiful theater. It's
one of the most state-of-the-art as well. Our lighting system, the sound system, everything is just phenomenal. And we're using some extra special effects this year that the audience will be quite delighted of.
Okay.
Now that's a tease right there.
For you to find out, right?
Nice.
And for those who aren't, still kind of on the fence of, can I sit through a whole ballet? Because this is a modern era ballet. There's contemporary in there, there's jazz in this ballet, and there's even a couple tap numbers.
Nice. Good. When you have that many characters and that many quirky characters, it lends itself to doing things a little bit off the ballet schedule, if you will.
Yeah, it does.
That's awesome. Well, can you or Sterling give us a little bit of a tease on the character of Alice, the person you have acting as Alice.
Or Alice. Alice. Our auditions and callbacks this year, I really put the dancers through the ringer. It was intense.
Sterling is like, yeah, thanks a lot, buddy.
It was intense. I think callbacks were 6-7 hours long. Nonstop dancing, just go, because the character of Alice in this ballet, it's probably one of the hardest principal roles to dance, just because she leaves stage twice in the entire ballet, and that's it.
Well,
she is on for the whole ballet. She has 6 solos, 4 duets. 3 or 4 quartets, and then she's in almost every full ensemble number. So I had to weed out the weak, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Who can sustain that much dancing and not tire, and also not risk their body. I needed someone who could sustain that just physically as well, because it's also a role that's danced on point. So of all of my point dancers, I really had to find out who has the endurance to last for, an hour, 40 minutes, and you're dancing for probably an hour 25 of that.
Oh my word.
And not gonna lie, our Alice, her name is Mason Burris, and she's young, she's 15. She gave us no choice.
She was that good.
She came into auditions alone, and my entire panel, I had a couple guest judges, basically. One was my friend Joe Caruana from Chicago, from Elements Contemporary Ballet in Chicago. Literally just from auditions, all of us looked at each other and went, what? And she was even a student of mine, and I was still like, what?
Were you offended that she was so good?
I am highly offended that you are so good.
That's a great line, by the way. That is so cool to be that talented. You won't have her for very long, because she'll probably be working in New York or Chicago or LA or something like that. So.
Yes, and she's one that she loves ballet, and she's always wanted to perform in ballet. So last year when Nutcracker happened, she was just beside herself. And so she's worked like a dog as a student this whole year. She was like, I want something in Alice. And she set her sights on it, and literally callbacks, she was untouchable, just untouchable. And she's lovely. Her energy is just so effervescent and just lovely. Like, everyone, when they watch her, that's the word that everyone uses, even at rehearsals. And she's a lovely person too, so she gets along with everyone in the cast. Everyone adores her. She's that person that walks in the room, and she is Alice. You just want to know what she's doing and follow her and watch her. She's pretty spectacular.
Oh, good for I have the strangest question. I don't think I've ever asked anyone this question before in my entire life. To be a ballet, to be that good at ballet and be able to dance on point like that, does the average or the typical ballet principal dancer need to have abnormally short toes? I mean, what is it? What is it about a ballet dancer that makes them able to dance on point for so long? And I mean, I've seen pictures of bloody toes. I know it's brutal.
It's brutal. And honestly, that's a great question, because most people, when they see, I tell my students all the time when they get frustrated with themselves, I'm like, okay, step back. You are literally putting your entire body weight on the smallest joints and appendages of your entire body, and then pounding them into the ground for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, calm down. But no, every ballet dancer's feet are shaped differently. I dance on point and have for years, and because of the way my feet are shaped, my big toe sticks out quite a bit from the rest of my toes. So when I'm on point, I'm just on my big toes. Mm-hmm. For a lot of dancers, depending on the shape of their feet, it's usually the first 2 toes that they're balanced on, or the first 3. And it is just.
There's no cheating. There's no cheating that.
It's just no cheat code for that. Feet to get used to it, and it's your first 1.5 to 2 years of point is painful. There's just no way around it. It's painful.
You think my dad's a guitar player. I always wanted to play guitar, and I tried, and I just, I could never build up the calluses to play and practice enough to do it. I didn't have that determination enough to do that. This is next level, though, to be dancing on point. I mean, kudos to all you guitar players who have all the calluses and can play all day long, but beating up your toes like this has got to be
it's rough.
It's a mindset.
This one's in his first year of point right now, so he's experiencing it.
Yep.
Oh my! Oh,
toenail, but
who needs toenails anyway?
Just comes with the territory.
They're overrated.
They are, yeah. No.
Well, again, we got the link in the chat so people can get tickets, and it's worth the drive down to Byron. And as I said, the theater at the middle school there is really something special. Any show to see in there is really, it's very comfortable. It's big enough, but not so big that you get lost in it. It's just really a really nice theater. So go down and see Alice. You've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities.
Yep.
3 evening shows and 1 matinee. Weekend of December 19th through the 22nd. So that big weekend right before Christmas. Is there a Christmas tie-in on Alice?
No.
And that's fine. I mean, it's still festive in its own way.
How could I tie Christmas into this show? And I was like, you really. But when everyone's home for Christmas, butting it on the weekend that we have has actually been really successful for us because everyone's home. You're looking for things to do, as a family. And what's great about Alice is it's so family friendly, and there's so much color, and with the costumes and the lighting and everything, it will keep kids' attention for the whole time. So it's a great place, if your family's stir crazy getting close to Christmas with everyone at home, bring them to Alice.
There you go. There you go.
So, Greg, your presence there will be Christmas enough.
There you go. There you go. Your presence is requested. Tickets, ticket prices and length of show. Let's fill that in before we let you go.
Ticket prices are $15. And the ballet's going to run about an hour 40, hour 45 is intermission.
Awesome. All right. Did I miss anything, Tom? Anything that we want to focus on before we let our guests go?
No, I think you did a masterful job.
I think we covered everything pretty well.
Questions. I have no questions. Only dad jokes.
Only dad.
Oh, one thing we do love to point out all the time, because I know it is an issue with a lot of theater venues in the area, that theater is fully handicap accessible.
Yes. Yes, you can roll in the front door and roll right to a seat if you need that accommodation. It's all very simple.
I guess there is one question. Is there food? Is there popcorn? I've never been to a ballet. I don't know. There is.
Yep, we always have concessions, and this time around we're actually selling some really cool like Alice memorabilia out in the lobby too. So
nice.
All right. Good deal. Well, wish nothing but success on your performances. Again, the weekend of December 19th through the 22nd at the Byron Middle School Theater. Beautiful theater right there in Byron, Illinois. Go out and see Alice Adventures in Wonderland. All 28 amazing characters and all that huge ensemble. What did you say? What's your total cast number right now for this show?
42.
40.
Yeah.
Over 40 actors, dancers, singers on stage in Byron. So hope it all goes well for you. And thanks for coming on and sharing with us today.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
You got it. Have a great weekend.
Have a good day.
There goes Andrew and Sterling down there in Byron. That's a pretty impressive situation they got going on there at the Byron, the Byron Civic Theater. They're doing a good job out there. So, all right, Tom, before we get to starting to talk all things Packers, let's take care of two things really quick. First off, our big number of the and I didn't do my shout outs either yet, Tom, and I want to make sure I get that in before we go and transition into all things sports. I want to give shout outs real quick to everyone who put on Stroll on State last weekend. It was very cold, but it wasn't snowy, and it really wasn't too windy. So there was, the wind chill factor, thank God, was not too bad. It was cold enough without wind chill factor.
Yeah.
Highlight for me, and I've heard many people echo this as well, was the drone show. After lighting up the tree, they did a spectacular drone show above the main stage, and I was thoroughly impressed. So kudos to the Stroll on State committee team that put this on again this year. The City First band that performed, the Christmas songs, Illinois Bank and Trust that, footed most of this bill, and Illinois Plumbers and Pipe Fitters 23, I think is the union number that they also help make this all possible in downtown Rockford again this year. So kudos to a wonderful stroll on state. A big shout out to Nick's Wish and our big end of the year Christmas party for In Crowd 815 this past Wednesday night at Cliff Breakers. Had a nice turnout. Raised, I think, just shy of a couple $1,000s for Nick's Wish. And this year's focus of our Christmas party honestly was less on the fundraising aspect and more on the volunteer appreciation party for the Nick's Wish volunteers. And of course, In Crowd 815 folks that have made this 2024 season just a really fun, successful year of networking group meetings that we've had throughout the season. So thank you to UW Health. They were our premier sponsor for our Christmas party and Nick's Wish volunteer appreciation party this last Wednesday. The food was amazing. Tom, you missed out. Brisket sliders.
Yeah.
Chicken and waffles.
I'm sorry I had to miss out. I work on Wednesday nights doing trivia, and I am very sorry that I had to miss out.
It was good. It was very, very good. And then Thursday night, our friends over at City Stage Studios had their annual Christmas bash. Josiah Shostrom and his team over there built a 2-story, like a little mini downtown window shopping walk right there in their studio, and had a candy shop and all great hors d'oeuvres and live music. It was just spectacular. So Josiah and your team there at City Stage Studios, thanks for putting on another great party. All right, 18.74 million is our big number of the week this week. And the answer is gutting or guitars. And Tom said gutting. All right, so in the past 5 years, over 90% of homeowners, you fit this category, Tom, over 90% of homeowners made renovations to their homes. And in the last 5 years, a record, actually in the year 2023, $487 billion was spent on home renovations. That's really good news for the building products industry. It's actually kind of bad news for most renovators. 74% of people that did home renovations were left with regrets. This story kind of caught me by surprise. According to a survey of 1,000 random U.S. homeowners via Fortune magazine, about 50% said they liked their pre-remodeled home more than their newly remodeled home.
Wow, that's crazy. And then they spent out 30, 40, 50,000, whatever.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wonder if it's because if they made trend decisions and they fell for kind of a trend they thought they would like, and once they did it, they're like, this isn't real fun and livable. I tell you, if you're doing any major renovations to your home and you have any care at all about return on investment and how it might show later to buyers should you decide to sell your house in the next 5 years, talk with a realtor who might be able to give you some insight on whether it's worth your time. Is this obvious?
You got something going on with your arm there? You okay there, buddy? Are you nervous sick or what?
Talk to your favorite realtor and ask if this is a good idea or not. You'll probably get a little bit of insight onto whether or not that's a good
Bob,
idea.
Greg Saunders gave me some really good advice. He told me to call my favorite realtor. Listen, I'm thinking about selling. Kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm going to take the point from Tom, not just because he said that. Over 3,000 counterfeit Gibson guitars were seized in Los Angeles at a Long Beach seaport, which if the guitars were real, they would have been worth $18.7 million. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said the operation was the largest recorded seizure of musical instruments. They advised holiday shoppers to scrutinize any prices that seem too good to be true. If it feels too good to be true, it
usually is. Yep.
Actual Gibson guitars are made in 2 places. One is Tennessee. Do you know the other state where they make Gibson guitars, Tom?
Oh, I'm going to go Los Angeles or California.
Nope. Think way more rural than that.
Oh, wow. I have no idea. Omaha, Nebraska.
Close. Montana.
Montana.
Without
really
this
that
story,
close.
I would have never known. Tennessee and Montana, the only places where Gibson guitars are made. The company is very protective of its iconic designs. There was a company recently that tried to make a guitar very similar to Gibson's, and because they have a patent on how their neck, what's it called, where the strings come together at the top of the neck? I forget the name for that. There's a design there, and someone almost
Is it the
copied
bridge or something?
something like that.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
they
listen,
were
I did say guitars. I just misspelled it. I spelled it Gutting. Isn't that how you spell guitars?
guitars.
Oh man,
Eight,
I'm sorry.
imagine though, I'm do the math on this. About 3,100 guitars worth $18.7 million if they were real. What is that per guitar? 18.7 divided by 3,100. You got your calculator handy
I
there?
do 18.7 divided by 3,100 equals. I don't know,
6,000
6,032 or something like that.
at least. Yeah.
I probably punched it in wrong. It didn't.
That's the
really.
decimal point over. Yeah, it's Gibson guitars aren't cheap. They're pretty
No.
stinking awesome. People love them pretty much that ever try them. So anywho, there's your big number of the week answer. And before we get into all things Packers football, remember, you change the world when you help one person. Be a blessing to someone this week. And if you would like to, please like, follow, subscribe, and give us a 5-star review on the Spotify. All right, let's shift gears to sports and our disappointing but yet somewhat encouraging game against the Detroit Lions. Tom?
All right, well, let's start with the encouraging. The encouraging is that the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night showed the world and Detroit and everybody else that they are just as good, if not better, than the Detroit Lions.
They're for real.
They're for real. They're 9-4. Detroit's 12-1. Detroit showed me a lot in terms of I have never seen a team that can step in crap so much and come out smelling like a rose.
Right.
We're gonna go for it. It's 4th and 1 on our own 30-yard line. We're gonna go ahead and go for it. Well, the Packers did turn that into a touchdown. It's like, bring it on, Dan Campbell. Do that in the NFC divisional round. Go ahead, and you'll see what happens, just like you did in the NFC Championship game last year. This is why I've said for the last couple of years now, I'm not a big fan of Dan Campbell because I don't think he really truly gets it when it comes to football, when it comes to, you know what I mean? Football guy, he's great. He's great for a high school coach. He's great for maybe even a college coach. But at the NFL level, you make mistakes like that, you're going to pay. They have a great team. I'm not going to take anything away from the Detroit Lions. They are well coached. They have a great team. They have some players at every single position.
Yeah.
But the one thing they do have is the one thing that Dan Campbell does bring to the table, and that is intensity, motivation. All right, we're going to bite your kneecaps. Okay, everybody laughed at it, but now we see what they mean. They get after it. That's what every football team needs. That's what the Chicago Bears need. If you had that mentality, if you had the ability with the Chicago Bears to do even half of what Detroit does, Chicago would be probably 8-5 right now. You know, they wouldn't have lost half of those games had they had a little more discipline. Okay, so back to Detroit. I'm impressed with a lot of things with Detroit, but the thing I'm not impressed with is Dan Campbell and the fact that he just keeps being the gunslinger, and that will come back to haunt him. Point number 2, before I talk about what I thought the Packers did wrong. Point number 2 is, and I don't like to complain about the officiating, but you cannot miss the elephant in the room. And I have an elephant right there.
There's an elephant there somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, dude, let me just go through it. First,
there was 4 or 5 calls completely missed that are.
And they were game changers.
They were game changers.
They were game changers. When Josh Jacobs scored that touchdown, that would have put him up 28-24 instead of tying it up 24-24. That was a touchdown. What they called was a pick on Christian Watson. No, it wasn't, because it wasn't part of the play. It wasn't part of the intended play. Jordan Love came over this way, then he came over this way, and he ended up finding Jacobs. The defender, Kirby Joseph, ran into Christian Watson. Christian
Watson
was
wasn't
running his own play.
He wasn't
He's
purposely
like, what?
blocking that.
What
that
the heck
defender.
happened? If anything, you call defensive pass interference on the defense.
Yeah.
That was not a pick. Not a pick, period. Okay, that was a touchdown that got taken off the board. And you know what? That's 4 extra points. Guess what? We lost by 3.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have mattered. It changes the whole complexion of the game. But we would have been up, and they would have been playing catch up. We did a decent job against their offense, and we did a better job than I thought we would against their defense. We scored 31 points. Should have been more. Anyway. So, the other call. Xavier McKinney down on the goal line. He gets his helmet ripped off.
Totally ripped
Hands
off.
to the face. You don't lose a helmet unless somebody pushes it off.
He didn't do it
Nothing
himself.
called.
No.
It was on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Point number 3. Amon-Ra St. Brown, that guy again. He runs that route, and this was when it was 3rd and 14. We had them on the ropes, and they were down in their own territory, probably 35 or 40-yard line. This is what gave them the first down. He pushes the Packer defender, Keyshawn Nixon, and he falls back. Nothing was called. It wasn't offensive pass interference. They got the first down, and that was what led them to the eventual game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
Point number 4, Keyshawn Nixon had a clean shot coming in. They grab him and hold him, almost tackle him. Nothing called. Oh, my God. Those are the 4 most obvious ones, and there was another one that was actually very obvious as well. Oh, the Dan Skipper one, where Quay Walker just kind of pushes him away. And Dan Skipper, he's 330 pounds and 6'7", and he just flops like Frank Fosbury or whatever.
Like a stuffed bear.
That's right.
Just flop down.
Called a personal foul on Quay Walker, and there was one other one, and it was there was another personal foul that didn't get called. That was a slap. Oh, the Zadarius Smith. When he slaps Jordan Love's helmet, it wasn't just a slide by. He hit him and knocked him flat. And Jordan Love gets up and shakes his head. That was a personal foul, roughing the passer that should have been called. And that was on 3rd down.
I will say they must have frustrated him because I didn't hear much of Zadarius Smith's name called during the game. He
had a couple. Well, he had that very opening sack. I mean, the very first play of the game.
Yeah.
When Green Bay, not the first play of the game, first play of the Packers' first
series,
Zadarius Smith had the sack. So I'm so disappointed. I'm disappointed in the refs. I'm disappointed in the Packers too, because I thought 2 things. Number 1, the play calling was awful. Well, let's go ahead and run Josh Jacobs right up the middle on 1st and 10 when they are clearly stacking the middle. Yes, Josh Jacobs scored 3 touchdowns, probably could have scored 4. Oh, he should have. He did score his 4th, but they took it off the board. But he just wasn't, the holes weren't getting open. That was bad on the Packers' offensive line. It was good on Detroit's defensive line, but it was bad on Matt LaFleur for going back to that same well. Josh Jacobs had 66 yards on 18 carries. I think that was like 3.3 or 3.4 yards a carry. That's not that good. Now, normally Josh Jacobs will get a 20-yarder or something like that. He didn't get his signature big run. So that skewed it a bit. Well, it didn't skew it. It gave you absolute real numbers. It would have skewed it had he gotten a 35 or a 40-yarder. That would have skewed it a bit. But anyway, that's fine. But at some point, you realize we're not doing anything going into the teeth of the defense. So what you do, here's the other thing. Jaden Reed had 0 catches, 0 yards, 0 anything.
What's up with that?
Well,
there's 2 things. For the playoffs? What's going on there?
There's 2 things going on. They're keying on him, but they're not calling a lot of plays for him. I wanted an end around. They did on a 4th and on a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2 or something like that. They did a Josh Jacobs up the middle again. He didn't get it, and they punted. Dan Campbell would have probably said, "Oh, we're going for it. We're going to bite their kneecaps and go for it." That's fine. That's fine. It seems to be working out, but we'll see how it works out when the playoffs get here, Dan. We'll see how it works out. You'll probably get the same result as last year. Remember, there's some very good coaches Two very good Hall of Fame coaches that are 0-8 in Super Bowls. Marv Levy, 0-4, 4 in a row.
Marv Levy.
Bud Grant, 0-4, 4 within the 70s. Those are some very good coaches. To win a Super Bowl, you have to have that extra little element. I'm sorry, you do. You cannot make those kinds of mistakes that you could make in
The
week
poor
5
Buffalo
or week
Bills, they ran into a Dallas Cowboys dynasty that just thwarted them 3 times. That's just crazy. That it's really crazy
Yeah.
that they had to deal with that 3 of those 4 Super Bowls.
Well, it was actually 2. It was Dallas did win 3 Super Bowls, but the other one they won, I think they beat maybe the Chargers or something like that. But it was the Redskins and it was the New York Giants.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
the very first
I knew
one.
the Giants was one of the 4, but okay, yeah.
Giants it was Giants, and then it was Cowboys, and then it was Washington Redskins, and then the Cowboys' 3rd Super Bowl came in '95. And that was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right.
Okay. All right.
When Neil O'Donnell threw the ball right to Larry Brown, it almost looked like he was probably going to hand him a check afterwards. Like, here's your payout, buddy.
There you go.
So, but anyway, and then the Packers, their defense. I'm sorry, I got to call out Jeff Hafley here. What are you doing? I completely understand that you've had a few injuries. You held the line of scrimmage. You did a fairly good job holding the line of scrimmage. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, I don't think even got 100 yards total rushing. I don't think they did. They were close, but we're talking 2 backs. We're talking 2 backs here.
Really good backs too. They're both
2 really good backs. They might have gotten 120, I don't know, but neither of them got even close to 100. Neither of them. Barely 50, 55, 60 yards. I don't remember that, but that middle of the field, which that's Joe Barry territory. The middle of the field, they just kept getting 3rd down conversions.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Jair Alexander was out, didn't play at all. Lucas Van Ness got injured during the game. He missed a bunch of snaps.
He did. We had some injuries. Evan Williams went out with a concussion. That hurt.
Yeah.
So there were some injuries, but you know what? You still can cover that middle better. We left them, they opened the middle, and they just kept doing it. And when they didn't, they went for it on 4th down 5 times, and they got it 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
2 of which were touchdowns on 4th down. Now, granted, you were 4th and 1 on the 1 or on the 2, and it was a pretty easy. Whoa, settle down, Tom. Settle down, Tom.
Get a second camera.
Yeah, it was a pretty easy walk-in. So, and I don't mind those calls. When you've got momentum, when you've got the horses, and when you've got the Green Bay Packers showing you that you're not able to cover that middle, come on.
Yeah.
You have to cover that middle better. And here's the other thing. You had Edgerrin Cooper is out. Teron Hopper has played 10 plays all year. Fine. He's a first year, might as well redshirt him. He's not really there. You also had one other linebacker out, and I can't remember who it was. So go find a linebacker. Jamal Adams was out there. Detroit picked him up.
Mm.
You could have had Jamal Adams. Now he's number 23. I think he's a back. I think he's a cornerback. I don't think he's a linebacker. But there's also a guy who fared quite well in preseason. His name is Chris something or Christian. His last name is Christian.
Okay.
Chris Christian or something like that. He's very good. He was at the Buffalo Bills organization. They put him on the practice squad. I don't even think he's with the team anymore. They could have went out and got him. Oh, my God, he's good. I really like the guy. He had an interception during preseason. He had a very good showing. And a lot of people were thinking, this guy's going to make the team. He's very good. And, well, they've got an embarrassment of riches with talent. The Packers do. So you couldn't keep all of them, but you can't. You needed somebody like that. Find somebody off the linebacker heap pile because you can take a guy from the linebacker position and make him a hybrid. Lucas Van Ness goes out. You can find somebody else because he's a defensive end. You can find somebody else that could fill that gap. So we had a lot of injuries. But anyway, I'm calling out specifically Matt LaFleur. I'm sorry. I did not like your play calling selection. You show some more trick plays. You had the one flea flicker, which I thought was a great play. Christian Watson was open for a short while, and Jordan Love had guys coming at him. Detroit's defense is swarming. That's why you should have had a couple of really quick passes. When I played football back when I was junior tackler years ago, we used to call it a quickie pass. That's what it was called. We would have our guy just take 3 steps slant and boom, hit him. It worked almost every time. Now at the level of 10-year-olds, that you can't stop that because you don't know what you're doing. You're a kid, and your coaches are literally telling you, Jenkins, time to go pee, come back. You don't know anything. You don't make those decisions for yourselves. So
and Detroit's doing a lot of those things, a lot of those quick passes, those quick slants, and the Packers used to do those when they were very successful.
Yes, and here's the other thing that Detroit did that Green Bay didn't. They had the play action. They're very good with play action. This is why Jared Goff was 22 of 31 or something like that. He completes a lot of passes. A lot of them are dink and dunk passes. That's what his forte is. Doesn't do a lot of deep stuff. With Xavier McKinney back there, not many teams are going to do a lot of deep stuff. They're afraid of him, and that's fine. It's just like when Richard Sherman was part of Seattle. Nobody threw to him. Nobody threw his way. He had the easiest job in the world. But what they did was they had Amon-Ra St. Brown coming around the edge. Coming around here. Jared Goff goes back, fakes a handoff to his running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, and hands it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And it was boom, boom, bang, bang. You could hardly see it unless you knew what you were looking for. And he comes right around and finds a gap, finds like a C gap or whatever, and he runs right up it. And he gets 15 yards. Yeah. This is what Green Bay needs to do.
That's a Reed play. That's what Reed should be running, and he's so fast. It's
absolutely.
I really wonder why they're not doing more of that.
I don't know, but he's coming off my fantasy team. He's going on the bench. I got 0 points.
Yeah. Oh my, that's not good.
0 points from
that's not good.
Yeah.
Well,
he didn't even have a catch.
I'm confused by that. I wonder what's going on. I was one of the things I was encouraged by. Wicks made a couple of key catches, and he has been struggling. So for him to get back on the catch side of things and not the dropsies things, that was a big plus. And overall, like you said, the Packers proved they can go blow for blow with the Lions. And if we can get into the playoffs, we're not afraid to go back to Detroit to take them on again. And, it'll be a different officiating crew. It is almost certain that it'll be a different officiating crew in the playoffs. And unless the officials are told specifically it has to be a Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl, there's going to be a fair
yeah. I'm thinking Chiefs Lions or maybe Buffalo. Give Buffalo some love. They're gonna want Buffalo Lions in there.
Yeah.
So, I want Green Bay Buffalo. You know why? Two smallest markets in the NFL.
That would be good.
I would love it.
I was so certain that it was going to be Packers Chiefs in the Super Bowl 50, a rematch of Super Bowl 1. I was so certain that was the year for that, and we were close.
Yep.
We were close.
Real close, yeah.
Didn't happen that year, but maybe this year, Packers Chiefs or Packers Bills. It's a possibility. I'm on I think I'm on a little different train than you are when it comes to the Lions. If the Packers get eliminated from the playoffs, go Lions, go.
No. I'm okay. So I've amended that. I said that. I've been saying that all year. I said it last year too. I'm kind of rooting for the Lions to win it because they've never been there. Blah blah blah. I don't like Dan Campbell. I really don't.
I think he's got something there, and I
think he does. But I think that one thing it's 95%. Really good, 5% fatally flawed. It's the fatally flawed that's going to keep him out of the Super Bowl or keep him from winning a Super Bowl. Okay, but I don't like their fans. I don't like their, like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Green Bay sucks. He's wearing a shirt that said that when he was in Green Bay
don't care
a few weeks back. Well, he even spelled it wrong. He didn't spell it wrong, but he didn't have he didn't have a space. Green Bay is not one word. Green Bay, 2 words. 2 words. Get it right. Your brother played for Green Bay, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Equinemius St. Brown. But anyway,
is he still with the Bears?
I don't think so.
I don't know that I've seen his name come up.
He might be out of football. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I say kudos to Dan Campbell going for it on all these fourth downs and playing the odds. And I really think that's exciting for football in general. And if he's got the healthy bodies, it's worth
Okay,
the
but
effort.
there's two reasons you go for it on fourth down. There's probably 3 or 4 reasons. We'll just touch on a couple. Number one, your punter is like in a wheelchair. You have no one that can kick the ball. Number two, you've got momentum. You're in their territory anyway, and you don't really want a field goal right now. You'd rather sustain it because of time and whatever. And that's kind of what they did. But there's one reason you don't ever go for it on fourth down, and that is when you're in minus territory. You're in your own territory on the 30-yard line, 31-yard line.
And that's what messed them up that one series. Yeah.
That's right. And that's how the Packers scored the touchdown and went ahead. Was it 21-17, I believe? Yeah. Okay, now think about it this way. There was 3 minutes left on the clock. They wanted to milk the clock and be done with it, and exactly that's what happened. Okay, they went for it. Had they missed it, I take that back. It was not 3.5 minutes. They did, but then they went again. They went again on fourth down with 1.5 minutes or 1:45 left. You give the ball back to Green Bay right then and there, and Green Bay had no timeouts. It didn't really matter. You got Jordan Love, and you've got a very good receiving core and everything else. You got 1:45 to work with. We're going to go down there and kick the winning field goal.
Yeah, there was plenty of time to get down there.
That is the time right there. You don't go for fourth down.
I respected his decision to say, hey, we got an opportunity to win it on offense and completely keep the Green Bay offense off the field. I was like, that's gutsy. Even Al Michaels was like, Roddy, he's what?
Yeah, I heard somebody call him Dan Gamble.
Dan Gamble, and I was like, yeah, that in that situation, you're already 11-1 on the season. You have the upper hand. It's like, you know what? The foot is on the neck. Let's take him out. And I totally.
I'm a fan of that. This is my biggest complaint against Mike McCarthy for all these years. My biggest complaint against just a lot of coaches. They don't
never take
up. This is why Bill Belichick has 6 World Championship Super Bowl rings. You don't let him off the hook. It happens too many times. So one more thing about Detroit. I had this last night. I was gonna print it out. I should have. I looked at their thing. You know how many one-score games they've won? They should have lost to the Bears. They should have lost to the Vikings. They should have lost to the Packers this time around. Mm-hmm. They should have lost. There was one other one they won. The Bears, 5 games.
The Bears have lost, I think, 4 or 5 one-score games that they could have won, and the Lions have like 4. Yeah.
Yeah, you switch the 2 coaches, Dan Campbell and Matt Eberflus. Detroit is probably 5-8, and the Bears are probably 8-5 because Detroit's got a far better roster. Dan Campbell's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. He's a good coach. He's just reading his own headlines. If I could sum it all up by saying this, he's going to get himself in trouble. He did last year, and he's going to again this year. He almost did this year. That's my take on it. He's a good coach, but he's got a lot of good. He's got Ben Johnson, and he's got Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is a really good
Johnson. He's turned down the Washington job to stay with Detroit.
Not only that, no, he turned down a job in, I want to say, aerospace or something like that. The guy is brilliant. The guy is very smart.
Yeah, so he's going to be a head coach somewhere next year, more than likely, as long as the Lions get to the Super Bowl.
No, he's going, period.
He wants to finish the job.
But I think he wants to finish the job, but if they have another ending like they did last year, he's going to say, you know what, forget this noise. I'll do it myself.
I don't know.
I think he will probably do it himself with some other team, not named Chicago. Let's just say I don't want him.
I don't see him going to Chicago. I wonder if he'll end up in Jacksonville or end up in Carolina.
Yeah.
I
would go somewhere warm.
Yeah. So, Packers play next Sunday night.
Yeah.
A week from tomorrow night.
Is that a night game? Because I thought the New Orleans game was a night game.
They're on prime time. They're prime time 4 in a row. So this is number 3.
Okay. You're right. You're exactly right. It is Seattle and it's prime time. It's
Packers
in Seattle.
at Seattle, December 15th, Sunday night at 7:20, and then the Saints come to Green Bay for a Monday night game, December 23rd, the Monday before Christmas.
And then we end with Minnesota and Chicago.
At Minnesota, home against Chicago. Both of those probably going to be noon games. I don't know that they'll flex either one of those unless
I think they could flex the Minnesota game depending on if a wild card spot is up for grabs there.
Yeah.
We're not winning the division now. Now that Detroit has won both, we literally have to beat them record wise, and they got a 3-game lead on us with 4 to go.
Yeah,
it's not
so
happening.
that's not happening. So where the Packers will fall in the seeding for the playoffs as a wild card is going to be the ticket. Hopefully it's high enough that they get to host that first wild card game, but that's not guaranteed. That's not.
No. They can't. They can't because they'll be a wild card team. They'll play a division winner. They will not host.
Okay.
They will not unless they play another wild card team. I'm hoping they're the first wild card team. I think they will be. I hope they're the 5 seed. And then what they'll do is they'll play either, let's just say Seattle and Atlanta or Tampa Bay. It'll be either one of those 2 teams. They'll either travel to Seattle or travel to Atlanta or to Tampa.
And Atlanta seems to be coming apart at the seams. Something's not going right.
They do. So I'm thinking Tampa's probably going to win that division. So they're probably going to go to Tampa. That's the way I see it. And I don't really want to go to Tampa and play Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Although I will say this. Todd Bowles is an awful head coach. I'm sorry. He really is. He has given up several games this year. He has.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I mean,
Baker Mayfield is something else. He's something to watch. He's fun to watch.
He really is. I love Baker Mayfield because he's taken so much crap. Yeah, he was with a Cleveland team that wasn't very good.
Yeah. No, he got his career got off to a shaky start. Anyone starting with Cleveland gets off to a shaky start.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's your remaining schedule. Packers at Seattle 1 week from tomorrow night. Sunday night football. I don't think they would flex them out of that, right? That would be. I don't see why they would do that because both of these teams are going to be playoff teams, so that should stay.
Oh yeah, no. Packers are prime time for a reason. They're a big draw.
Yeah, but Saints Packers, that Monday night game, would they flex them out of that Monday night game?
No. They won't flex out a Monday night game. If for some crazy reason it was Carolina and whoever another bad team is, Carolina and the New York Giants or something like that, because somebody 8 months ago thought it was going to be a good matchup, whatever. They might, I don't know. But no, it's a lot of work to do that, especially on a Monday night, because you're talking about changing your schedule, you're talking about setups and everything else. No,
this says it'll be on ABC. So if you don't have ESPN, it should still be on ABC that Monday night.
Yeah.
Before Christmas. So already kind of looking forward to that one because it should be good.
Right.
All right. Well, there you go. There's your Packer talk for this week.
Good.
Packers, Seattle. We can talk about that next Saturday when we know more about injuries and such. We'll see what Seattle does.
Yeah.
This weekend.
I look for them. Okay, I'll just say this. I look for the Green Bay Packers to run the table. I think they're going to go 13-4, and 13-4 will get you because one of those losses or one of those wins will be against Minnesota, and Minnesota's going to lose at least 2 more, and they're going to have the tiebreaker over Minnesota. I firmly believe they are going to be the number 5, the first wild card, number 5 overall, and you're going to have Minnesota, and then probably. Maybe San Francisco. I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing San Francisco have a resurgence and go in at 9-8 or something like that, and then accidentally take care of Detroit. Or it wouldn't be Detroit; it would be Philly.
It'd be Philly.
Love to see it be Philly because Detroit's probably going to win overall number 1.
And they'll get that first round.
Week, it would be San Francisco if they win, if they were to beat Philly, they would take the remaining higher seed, and it'd be Detroit.
Either way, it's going to be a very entertaining playoffs, and I'm here for it.
It will be. It will be.
I'm here for it.
Oh, me too.
All right, let's give this a quick plug before we leave real quick. Incrowd815.com. If you ordered something now, you still might get it for Christmas. If you ordered some merch, you still might get it in time for Christmas. What's today? December 7th? So
it is. Hey, happy D-Day or bombing day, whatever.
T-shirts, hoodies, polos.
You know what tomorrow is? The anniversary of what?
December 8th. The anniversary of the 8th day of December.
Oh, hey, there you go. You got it. Sort of. Very famous musician was shot and killed.
Oh, is that a John Lennon?
Yep. By
John
Mark
Lennon.
David Chapman.
That's crazy. Another one of those super fans that had to be bad.
Yeah, I don't understand that. He's trying to impress. No, that was the Reagan. That was John Werner Kinkley trying to impress Jodie Foster.
All right. So Incrowd815, if you're looking for some unique Christmas gifts, hey, go grab one of these 815 hoodies or T-shirts and put a couple of those under your tree. That'd be
awesome.
And support the podcast and the group here. So, all right. Any last minute things before we move on to our weekend?
Now I got a DJ gig this afternoon from 2 to 5.
All right. Will you enjoy that? Next week, Care Patrol has an Alzheimer's support group. Carrie, Barb, and Floyd are going to join us and talk about Care Patrol and their Alzheimer's support group and what they're doing here in the 815 to support those who are dealing with Alzheimer's. And we've got guests lined up all the way through the first show of 2025. So if you are a member of or connected to a not-for-profit that has yet to be on our InCrowd 815 podcast, we encourage you to connect them with us so that we can talk to them about what they do here for the 815. We want to have every single not-for-profit on our show at some point, and there's about 190 of them. If we get to 150, I'll be very happy about that. I think we can. I think we can get to our 150. We're technically at about 60 to 65 of the 190 that have been on the show in some way, shape, or form with a guest to talk about what they do. So we're getting there, Tom. But the struggle's real. We've reached the point, and I don't take this the wrong way, but I'm gonna say this in this way. We've reached the low-hanging fruit. The most active not-for-profits in the 815, they've pretty much all been on our podcast by now. The ones who do multiple events throughout the year, who really have a marketing type person that puts out press releases and is very active in being involved in outreach and being on shows like ours. We've reached pretty much all the
Well, there's no issue with that whatsoever. You're exactly right. It's like working a crossword where you start with the 3-letter and 4-letter ones and fill in. So now it makes it easier for the 6-letter words, the downs, and the one over here and the one over there. So no, it becomes tougher after a while. Or puzzle pieces, working a puzzle. You get the outside because you know it can only be on the outside because it's got a flat edge.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It's that middle piece.
I walked into the Christmas extravaganza at City Stage Studios on Thursday night and immediately surveyed the situation, looked around, see if I recognized anybody, went over to Josiah Shostrom and said, hey, is there anybody here tonight in the not-for-profit sector that maybe I haven't met yet? Because that was my goal that night, was to try to meet one more not-for-profit person to get him to be on the show. And he's like, if I think of anybody, I'll let you know. And then I hung out with Michelle and Tam from Good Day State Line, and Andrew and his buddy. We had a good chat talking about their show and all the things that they do. If you're not much of a TV watcher, get a chance to tune in to Good Day State Line. They're on at 5:30 and 10 p.m. now. It used to be like 11. Now it's at 10 p.m. on Fox 39. You can catch what they're doing. And they do a great show every night, 5 nights a week.
And let me just say this about Michelle. She is every bit as nice, every bit as sweet, every bit as good as you think she is on the show. Her personality doesn't change. She is a wonderful, wonderful person.
And Tam is just delightful as well. Her and I had a great conversation at the party Thursday night. More than anyone else that I talked to was her. We've connected over the last couple of years on a couple of different occasions, but Thursday night we had a really, really good conversation. Really appreciated getting to know her a little bit more and
cool
and her excitement for what she does. So there's a shout out, the Good Day State Line. Check out what they're doing. So thanks to Andrew and Sterling for joining us today. Again, Alice Adventures in Wonderland, the ballet, is coming up December 19th through the 22nd at Byron for the Byron Civic Theater, which they do at the middle school. Amazing theater there in Byron. And thanks to Barbara and Stacy for joining us from UW Health. Donate a toy. The links are in the chat. You'll see where you can donate toys. And next week it'll be Care Patrol here on the show. And yes, you change the world when you help one person. So be a blessing to someone this week, and we'll try to do the same. Meet you back here for another In Crowd 815 podcast. Tom, buddy, have a great weekend.
You too, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
In crowd, 815. In crowd, 815.